Bonsoir, buenas tardes. Welcome to the Modern Languages Open Evening. My name is Lydia La Paz, and I am the course team leader here at Long Road for Languages. We would, of course, would have preferred to welcome you all here in our premises and to show you our lovely campus, our resources, as well as our students. However, due to the circumstances, this is still, a very good way for you to find out about studying languages at Long Road. During this little meeting, you will have the opportunity to meet some of our Year 1 and Year 2 students who will answer some questions. And you will also have the opportunity to send some of your questions via the chat box, and we will make our best to answer them. It is, however, a little bit strange to speak to a blank canvas and to not see you all of them. And I hope that you will find this session informative. Next slide, please. So to start with, quite often we are asked, why study a language at A level? And well, for some students, studying a language, they do it for the love of it. They have really enjoyed it at GCSE and they want to improve and to get a lot more fluent. Others do it to help them with their future careers. And others, they may be considering, working and living abroad. But whatever your reason, studying a language is now considered a facilitating subject because it will open up, other careers prospect as well as studying other courses. Employers as well as admission tutors really value the many skills you will acquire while studying a language. Next slide, please. The really important is that in order to study French or Spanish at A level, you need to have and achieve a grade 6 in French or in Spanish at GCSE. All the information I'm giving you today is about French and Spanish because those are the two languages that we studied here at Long Road. In the first year, the course content is divided into 6 topics. And we start with topics you are familiar with, like family, music, and cinema. And most of you will have studied some of those topics during your GCSE course. The idea is to start from topics you are familiar with, as the aim of the first year is to improve the accuracy of your language and to develop your vocabulary and grammatical knowledge. However, the content and what you will be studying will be quite different from what you did at GCSE. So, for example, in Spanish, when we're talking about, the family, we will look at how the different models of family and how those models have evolved and changed over the last 50 years. In French, we are studying at the moment music, and then something we will look at is the negative and the positive influence of musicians on young people. Next slide, please. The AQA course is based on opening your mind and knowledge to different cultures and to, celebrate diversity. So although we learn about Spain as well as about France, we will also need and we will go over all those topics in relation with French as well as Spanish speaking countries. So like I've said, the French group is studying music. So one of the tasks they're doing at the moment is preparing a presentation on a music festival, but it's got to be a music festival based on in a French speaking country. Likewise, the Spanish students are studying at the moment cyber society, la cibersociedad, and they are preparing a presentation on the usage of internet and social media in a Spanish-speaking country. So this means that you will develop your research and presentation skill, but you will also learn how to select relevant information and data. Next slide, please. In year 1, on the top of the 6th topic, we also study one film, La Haine for the French group and Volver for the Spanish group. This will be the base for learning how to write an essay and obviously to develop your writing skills. You will have access to the film via Moodle, and you will be able to watch the film as often as you want. We will still carry on working on the film during the year 2, as we will still carry on practicing writing essays. Next slide, please. This is the course content for the second year. So we do get 6 new topics, and those topics now are a lot more complex, and they relate to extremely current issues, such as racism or young people's engagement with politics. And all those topics are a lot more current, and we've seen a lot more of them on the news recently. At this level, Year 2 students will extend their vocabulary knowledge, but also they will need to be able to express opinions and knowledge in an accurate manner. So, for example, the Year 2 student in French need to be able to explain the causes of poverty and how it affects people and what solution could be found. In Spanish, the student has got to be able to speak and to explain what racism is and who is affected and why they are affected. Next slide, please. In Year 2, on the top of our 6 topics, we will study also a novel, No et moi for the French group, and Como agua para chocolate for the Spanish group. The same as for the film, you will practice essay writing during the second year of the course, and as you have to write essays for the final examination. So this is something that we will practice regularly, and obviously we will use exam question so that you get used to it. And obviously you can find all that, on the French and Spanish course description that is on the Longroad website. Next slide, please. So to summarize, the key feature of the course are the fact that, to start with, on the top of your lessons, you will have a weekly allocated slot with the French or the Spanish assistant, and you will be in a small group of 2 or 3. And during that time, you will be practicing, all the language content that we have done in the lesson. But also what is really important is to develop your confidence in speaking. I'm aware that many of you do not have a foreign assistant in your school, and many of you are not used to speak too much Spanish. And quite often, students, when they start at Longroad, one of the things they found most daunting is speaking. So it's a reason why, we give you a special time to make sure that we can help for you to become more confident speakers. The course is taught, in the target language. We are used to have, bilingual students, and we make, that integrated into the lesson. We have got really well-resourced and equipped department. All our resources are online, so you will get, a login account for Kerboodle, and you will be able to access the textbook as well as interactive resources through Kerboodle. But also you will get a login account for Moodle, where we have got also all our other resources we do use. Next slide, please. The course is 100% exam. We follow the AQA A-level French and Spanish specification. It is a 2-year course, and you will be examined at the end of the year course on the content of Year 1 and Year 2. This means that all the different exams will cover 12 topics, the 6 from Year 1 and the 6 from Year 2, and as well as the film that we studied in Year 1 and the novel studied in Year 2. So it is really, it covers the 2 year. You will have 3 exams at the end of Year 2, and it's quite similar to what you are doing at GCSE, in the way that every single, skills, listening, reading, writing and speaking are all assessed. Next slide, please. At Long Road, you can have diversity and a different way of studying. You could have a different program of study. You could just study A levels, but you could also study just diploma, or you could have a mixture of both. For us in languages, we only have A level we offer, and however, it fits really nicely with students studying a diploma, and we quite often have that choice. Next slide. Trips, obviously, at the moment, due to the situation, not many trips are, we're not able to organize those. Normally, we have guests come to speak to students. We've got a residential trip to France for the year 2 student, where, a special, course is organized for them. Next slide, please. And we have work experience in Spain or France with Housebury. It's a company we've used now for many years, and students, this has got a very positive impact on our students. Obviously, we hope to resume this activity once it's safe to do so. Next slides, please. So what career prospect does language, open for you? And there are a lot of different careers, all right? It could be something like a video game translator, you could be a geoscientist, work for the Foreign Office, and so much other possibilities, like on the next slide, please. All right, so obviously, quite often we think about translators and interpreter, but as you can see, that has got quite a variety of careers prospect. And this is reflected in, our students who have left. Could I have the next slide, please? And in here, you can see the type of course that students have gone towards. Alex has gone to study computer sciences. Nicole and May have gone to study law. Zoe has gone to study Italian and Spanish. So there is a very wide choice of courses that our students, go after Long Road. Next slide, please. We just have got 2 more slides. That is, we've got 2 events planned for 2021. One is a welcome day. So if you have applied to Long Road, we will invite you to come and spend the day in the college to sample the subject you've applied for. And then also in June, we will have an open evening, and hopefully we will be able to invite you, face to face. That would be lovely. Finally, last slide is to remind you that, the 12th of January is a deadline for applying. I hope this has given you a better idea about the French and the Spanish A-level course here at Long Road, and I hope that I will see you in the near future. I've got my colleague Julia, who is now going to ask some questions to language students so that they can give you their view of what it is to study at Long Road. Thanks very much.
Hello, my name's Julia, and I have some real students here to talk to you about the real experience of studying languages here at Long Road. So I'd like to start with Miller, please. So Miller, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your background, where you studied before Long Road, and which other subjects you're studying here.
So I went to Chesterton Community College. I study English Lit, Spanish, and textiles at Long Road, and yeah.
Oh, that's great, Miller. Thank you. And why did you decide to study a language?
I thought it would be a good idea to study Spanish because I really liked it at GCSE. I had a great teacher. I enjoyed talking it a lot, and I thought maybe it would be a good idea to carry on with a language because I wanted to explore the culture more and also touch up on grammar because it's not one of my fortes.
Absolutely, and I'm sure that you are touching up on your grammar. Could you maybe outline the main differences between your GCSE course and the A-level course that you're on now?
The main difference that I realised when I came to Long Road is that you get a conversation class, which I really enjoy, which, well, it's already been talked about. You just go to a room and you have a little, like, half-hour slot of just having some Spanish speaking time, which I think really helps with your confidence in speaking. And I also really like the independence that you get from doing an A-level, because you get to do things by yourself and you get to kind of listen to things and redo things the way you'd like to do them.
Great, absolutely. I'm sure you find that you're not spoon-fed maybe in the way that sometimes you are at GCSE, aren't you? That yes, you have a lot more autonomy over your learning. And that really leads me on to my next question, Miller, which is how do you find studying remotely?
I really like studying online because I kind of have all my things around me and it means I won't forget something. I enjoy it a lot because, again, you get to do things at your own pace, and as long as you get the work done, you're all right, and you get to kind of do things at the time and speed you like to do them.
Yes, that's great. Well, it's lovely that you're so positive about it and that you've taken such an optimistic approach. And I think others actually do feel similarly. So that's maybe one blessing that we've found after the recent challenges of lockdown. So that's great. Thank you so much, Miller. I'd like now to talk to Danny, please.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Danny. I study criminology, sociology, and Spanish, and I went to Hinchinbrook Secondary School.
Oh, that's great, Danny. And why did you decide to study a language?
Being able to speak another language is a very good skill to have in general. It opens a lot of doors in terms of job opportunities and universities, as employers and schools tend to look at those with more than one language. And it's just a good way to enhance your listening and memory skills. So in the future, it's easier for you to learn more languages if you want to.
Yes, that's great. And you sound very ambitious and aspirational. That's great. So could you maybe tell us about what you found different after studying at GCSE level? How did you find studying A-level languages different? What were the main differences there for you?
So obviously the workload, there is maybe not a bigger difference, but you get a lot more independence when it comes to your work. As you said earlier, you were kind of spoon-fed at GCSE, but now you get to take control of how you learn. And like in terms of when we do listenings in class, you get to play and repeat them as much as you want instead of the teacher controlling everything. But also there's like a difference in the way that the topics that we learn. Now we go more in depth in culture and history instead of just the language itself.
Yes, absolutely fascinating. I can see you find it really interesting. That's great. Could you tell us maybe how you practice your speaking skills, Danny?
I try to speak as much Spanish as I can with people around me from my classes, but also a really big help is the conversation class, which has already been spoken about, where we are allowed to prepare some work to talk about in the lesson, half an hour of just speaking Spanish with our teacher and members of our class, and that's really beneficial to the way that we learn how to speak properly and are confident.
Yes, and I'm sure you really enjoy using the language and that live situation. And so how have you found studying remotely?
I actually quite like it. I don't think that my performance has changed anyway when we're studying remotely, and I think that the college has done a really good way of handling our current situation.
Brilliant. All right, well, thank you very much, Danny. That's really helpful.
Thank you.
So we also have some Year 2 students to talk to us this evening. So they've obviously been with us for longer. And I'd like to start with Lucy, please. Lucy, if you could introduce yourself and tell us which other subjects you're doing here at Long Road.
Hiya, I'm Lucy and I went to Soham Village College and I decided to choose Spanish because, well, I got an 8 in Spanish, which was promising, and then I've never wanted to drop it as a language because I think it just looks quite fancy. So I was like, I'll keep it going. I also study criminology and business.
Excellent. And how did you find the transition from year 1 into year 2?
It was a lot harder, but mainly in terms of deadlines being a lot shorter and a lot more like strict. But I think that is important, especially when you're doing 3A levels with a lot of content. You do just need to make sure that you're on top of it. But like Lydia said, you do have like Kahoot! And Moodle just to help you along with that. And there's obviously a lot more sites which help you with your tenses as well. So yeah.
Yes, excellent. And can you maybe tell us a little bit about the literature you've studied?
So we're doing Como Agua para Chocolate, which is very difficult in terms of there's a lot of Spanish to cover, but it definitely helps a lot with your reading exams as well, because obviously you are reading it and you're understanding tenses a lot more. I'd say it's a lot easier to look at a proper example of how tenses are used in terms of a story rather than just a one sentence. So yeah, it's hard, but I do quite like it.
You enjoy the challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And Lucy, so what's your plans for after Long Road? You're on a very interesting programme of study, so what are you hoping to do after Long Road?
So I don't plan on going to uni. I think I'll be done with studying after this. But I do plan on going to Spain for 6 months with a friend from my Spanish class. And then perhaps looking for au pair work for a little bit of time in Spain just to brush up on the Spanish and hopefully get fluent. And also find out more about the culture there as well. And then the end goal is to become a detective, which will bring in with my criminology. So that's the end goal, but who knows?
And work for Europol, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. All right, well, thank you very much, Lucy. And we have one more year 2 students this evening, Bella. So, Bella, could you tell us a bit about yourself, please, and about your programme of study here at Long Road?
Hi, I'm Bella and I study Spanish, economics and photography at Long Road.
Great. And how have you found the transition from year 1 into year 2?
I don't think it's been that different, to be fair. We started working on the RIP, so we've got more deadlines, but we get set about the same amount of work. It's just revision now as well as classwork.
Presumably you have to be quite disciplined about meeting those deadlines and keeping on top of the work.
Yeah, but it's bearable. It's nothing extreme. It's
absolutely all right. Great. And can you tell us a little bit about how you found the literature study?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed reading in Spanish. It's not something that we did at GCSE, so it's a bit different.
A new challenge.
It's quite difficult, but we read it over summer as well, so you have quite a lot of time to go through it. You can work at your own pace, kind of. And then we learn about it in class, so we read it at home and then we go through the chapters in class.
Excellent. So lots of support and guidance enhancing your understanding.
You're not left to read it all by yourself.
Yeah, great. And could you maybe tell us something about any other skills you've developed while you've been studying Spanish?
Yeah, so when I first started doing Spanish, I think I struggled with my speaking a lot, which is mainly like due to confidence, I think. Like learning a language has made me a lot more confident to speak out, not just in Spanish, but in other subjects as well.
Brilliant.
Which I think is quite a transferable skill that you can use for anything. So
yes, absolutely. So what do you want to do you think when you've left Long Road with those transferable skills?
I'd like to go to university and study economics.
Right. Yeah. Great. Well, you've got the confidence in speaking spontaneously and out loud, and you've obviously developed lots of analytical skills as well through your study of languages. So that's great. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that brings us to the end of our evening. Do be in contact with the college if you have any further questions about studying languages or any other questions. Thank you very much.